Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 172 of the Meet the Farmers podcast with me, Ben Eagle. Now, I've been very conscious that we haven't had a pig farmer on the podcast for a very, very long time. I've been feeling a little bit guilty of that. In fact, the last time was Fred Price way back on episode 80. So it is high time that we have another pig farmer on, especially with everything that's been going on in the pig sector, certainly this year. What a farmer we have. Yorkshire farmer Kate Moore is on the show. Kate farms 1,700 breeding sows in Driffield in East Yorkshire. Her parents bought the farm in 1996, so she and her sisters are second generation pig farmers, and all of the farm's sows progeny taken through to slaughter weight on third-party farms. The family, I've said that so many times as well. The family also has a small amount of arable, which is contracted out. And Kate is just in the process of setting up a holiday cottage and lodge business on the farm, as well as establishing her own branded products. She is very, very busy. She's also a keen hockey player. She's a keen gym goer, and is also one of the growing number of Meet the Farmers guests who've run the London Marathon. Kate, welcome to Meet the Farmers. How is your week going?
Not too bad, thank you. Yeah, busy, but that seems to be quite standard now.
Yeah, nothing changes. Let's start by talking about Yorkshire, East Yorkshire and Driffield. Tell us about your part of the world.
Yeah, it's a beautiful part of the world. I think we all take it for granted. It's obviously the heart of the world, especially today. It's blue skies, surrounded by arable farms, still lots of pig farmers around here.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't think you can get a better place, to be honest.
There we are. That's what everyone says, but I'm sure you're right.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
it's Yorkshire.
Exactly. Let's dive straight in and talk about the state of the pig sector at the moment. So obviously with the war in Ukraine and massive leap in cereal prices led to lots of headlines, but especially earlier in the year, saying that in essence that the sector would face complete collapse. I heard those words written quite a bit if things didn't change. And I actually remember an interview that you did on Farming Today not so long ago, which I think is when I got in touch with you, explaining the challenges that you had. How are things for your business right now? And we're recording this on the 12th of October.
It's really, really tough. My sisters and I are right in the thick of it, and we're doing everything we can to make sure that we're as efficient as possible to make sure that we carry on. The industry is really struggling. We're hearing of different people, different farmers going out on a weekly basis, which is heartbreaking. You know, it's all independent farmers that are being pushed out, and that will change our sector forever. And all of this is caused by, well, it started with the processors not having enough slaughtermen to basically, or butchers to kill our product. And now with Ukraine and Russia, its prices are just escalating. And, you know, all these things are totally out of our control. It's not that farmers are doing a bad job and that's causing them to go out of business. It is purely something that we can't control. And that's what's really devastating for us.
Yeah, I mean, is this particular pig crisis different to previous pig crises?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the pig industry is renowned for its peaks and its troughs.
Yeah, exactly.
And most of the time then it is feed price, straw issues, stuff like that. Well, this started back in July last year when the processors didn't have enough butchers. And that is not a risk, a commercial risk of pig farmers. You know, our commercial risks are that feed prices go up, that we get a disease, something like that. The fact that the issue at the processors got all put onto the farmers and we were the ones that paid for it. You know, healthy animals were being killed and wasted, and farmers had to deal with that. And the mental strain that put on us all. Back in February, I mean, we were still in it, but we could see the light at the end of the tunnel. Then Russia went into Ukraine, and that then shot our prices up massively. And it's been the same since then. And still, even now, processors are still not taking 100% of their contracted numbers. These pigs are contracted and they're not taking them all.
Yeah. I'm so sorry that you've had to go through what must have been just an absolutely horrific year on all sorts of levels.
Yeah, it's definitely been the toughest year that I've faced. And I know a lot of people that have been in the industry longer than I have, or that we have as a family, have said that this is the worst that they've seen it.
Wow. And then DEFRA's pork supply chain review consultation, which has been happening, that's very recently closed. Do you think that having that review is at least a step in the right direction?
Oh, massively. We kept asking government and asking them, and they actually responded, and they've put this review together. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity to get our views across to government and tell them exactly what's happening on ground. A lot of people in the industry are quite skeptical of what will come out of it. Personally, I think that we had to give it our all, let them know what's been happening, and hope that something gets changed so that we get some transparency back into the industry. Because at the moment, the supply chain is totally broken and we can't go on like this. We've lost 20%, over 20% of the farmers already, independent farmers. If it carries on like this, there will not be an independent pig farmer out there.
Yeah, I mean, it is literally that start by the sounds of things. I mean, what changes would you say? Would you say are necessary?
Well, the profit needs to be shared equally throughout the supply chain. At the moment, the retailers are making money, the processors are making a lot of money, and the farmers are losing a lot of money. And it needs to be transparent. There is no communication between processor and farmers when we're having pigs not taken that were contracted. There was nothing, there was no plan. Farmers have to have a contingency plan for everything that they do. Yet we were not being talked to by the processors. The retailers have hidden behind the processors throughout all of this. They're still stocking European product on the shelf when there was healthy animals, British animals, being culled on farm. And that's just criminal. And they have really got away with it scot-free, to be honest. And I think that that's getting pushed at the moment, that retailers really need to step up, not just for the pork sector, but for all of British agriculture. It's crazy that we're putting European and foreign products on the shelf instead of our own. The government have come out today and said that we should be eating seasonal food to help our greenhouse gas and stuff. Well, how can we eat it when the supermarkets aren't putting it on the shelves? At what point are we going to start valuing our products and the food that we eat?
Yeah,
it's crazy. The whole system is broken, I think, not just the pork industry.
Yeah. I mean, for the review itself, do you know what the sort of next stages are in terms of when we might actually have some answers of what practical actions might be taken?
No, so I think it will take quite a long time, to be honest. I know that they are evaluating it now, but with everything with government, nothing happens that quickly. I do think that they are trying to act quickly, but I don't think that we'll see any changes for a good 6 months.
Let's talk about your farm and how it's changed over time. Tell us about it.
Okay, so in 1996, Mum and Dad bought where we are now. Before that, Dad was a contract farmer, and we had a 5-year lease on that farm, and that came to an end. It was dairy and arable, and so it didn't really have much to do with pigs. We were basically homeless, and anyway, this farm came up for sale, and Dad bought it on the front lawn. It was quite, a big occasion. And so we moved here in 96. Vicky, my eldest sister, she actually didn't move here. She went straight to university to Harper Adams.
Okay.
And then when it was Christmas, came back here for the first time. I was about 15, I think, 14, 15, and my middle sister, Rachel, was 16. And so none of us really had that much interest in pigs. Dad surrounded himself with really good people that helped him massively.
Yep.
And so he put 800 sows down. I remember Dad and I staying up all night for the first gilt to farrow, and we literally stayed up all night. I haven't done that since.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah. And then it's basically grown from there. Vicky came back home in about 2004. No, before that, about 2002, 2003, after being at Newcastle, Harper Adams, sorry, and traveling the world. And she came back, and she was home for about 4 or 5 years before I came back, after I'd traveled and messed about basically in marketing and stuff. And we've grown it ever since then. So Vicky was very passionate about getting the retailers all around here. And so as I was coming home, then we were managing to get them out onto farm, and we've formed a relationship with Sainsbury's. And yeah, it's just basically grown from there, really driven by Dad to start with, but Vicky and myself, and then Rachel came back. I don't know how long ago Rachel came back, 10, 15, time goes quite quickly, doesn't it? Probably 15 years ago, and helps Mum in the office. Well, really, she runs the office now, Rachel. So it's a real family affair, and yeah, most of the time it works really well.
Yeah. It's why pigs in the first place? Was it literally just, this is the farm that's available, this is what would be suitable?
Yeah, basically. So it had pigs on it before, a long time ago. It was pretty run down, and we put up an electronic sow feeding system, which was quite new back then, and we loose sow housing, which again was quite new. So Dad was quite forward thinking. We did liquid feed, and yeah, we just basically learned on the job. He was very lucky. He had a lot of people supporting him, both the bank financially, but also people with good expertise that led him in the right direction. And he's a real risk taker. You know, he's a businessman, really. He's not a farmer. And yeah, it's put him in great stead. And yeah, we're now up to 1,700 sows, finishing all. We did back then, Dad sold the pigs at 7 kilos. But we've taken that all in-house now. We've got our own feed mill.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that.
Yeah, which is fantastic for us, especially when feed prices are like they are at the moment. We can adapt and change our diets pretty quickly and put different ingredients in. So, you know, yeah, we've not really stood still very much. Probably the last couple of years have been the most static that we've been. And that's just because we don't really know what's going
next
on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Who does? You used to have a 1,200 outdoor breeding sow unit. What happened to that unit?
Yeah, so we were approached by the landlord to put some sows on his land, and at that point it was a great opportunity for us to expand fairly cheaply, and so we decided to go for it, and it was good, but we learned very quickly that there was no welfare, especially for the stock person. Right. It was really tough. Yeah. You know, the land that we were on was good land. It was some of the best land around here, but in the winter, it was just so wet. And it was 15 miles away from the main farm. And just the fact that we had staff out there working when we weren't there, it just didn't sit very well with us. Yeah. It wasn't for us. We did it for quite a long time. We had the beast from the east. Which was my
goodness. Yeah.
Horrendous. And so, yeah, we decided that we were better to come back, concentrate on the indoor unit, and get out of it, basically.
It's funny, isn't it? So sometimes we need, talking to the beast in the east, sometimes we need a certain thing to happen, don't we? Which is just like, that's the final straw. That's it. Decision made.
Definitely no regrets coming out. It's brilliant that we've done it, and we know what it's like. We've learned a lot of lessons, but yeah, it definitely wasn't for us. It was so worrying for what the staff were doing, and making sure that they were safe all the time.
It's in the past now. It's fine.
Yeah.
So talking the future though, you've got a couple of diversifications on the go. Tell us about those.
Yeah, so we have got some lodges going up that Rachel is project managing, really.
Okay.
And they are nearly complete. Basically, we needed to diversify. We thought we needed to get another income from pigs because we are purely pigs, really. And so we had, where I live, we had a nice field that kind of lent itself really well to it. And so we decided to, put some lodges on. And then we've also got an old pump house at the main breeding herd that we're converting into a 1-bedroom little holiday cottage.
Yeah, amazing.
So yeah, all very different from farming, and also quite sad that we've been pushed down the fact that we need to diversify. Like, we're producing food for the nation. You think that would be enough to keep us going, yet we're finding
Apparently
that we
not.
have to. No.
Yeah. Apparently we have to do everything.
Yeah, and people say to you, "Oh, you're a farmer. What? So how have you diversified?" And that's like a common question, which to me is quite bizarre. You know, we've got quite enough on, but yeah, we're going to now deal with the public and see how that goes.
Yeah. That's so true, actually. And that's maybe really conscious that it's a standard question that I ask pretty much every single episode, because it is just, it's just standard now. But why is that? It really shouldn't be the case.
No, it shouldn't, because we're doing something pretty important. Yeah. We're all driven to it.
Yeah. Let's talk a little about you. What was life like as a teenager? Obviously, you had this sort of shift to this new farm. And when did you reach that point? Because we'll talk about how actually you went into marketing. But when did you reach that point when you thought, no, actually, this is what I want to do with my future?
I'm not sure I've reached that yet.
Still waiting.
Yeah. No.
There's still time. You could go do something else.
Hopefully. So, I mean, we had a really, amazing childhood. You know, we moved around a lot. So I went to a lot of different schools because mum and dad were managing different farms. And that was fine. You know, I adapted quite well to that. Rachel probably struggled more than Vicky and I. But, you know, we had ponies. It was lovely. We were on a farm. You know, it was idyllic, really. When we moved here, I don't think I ever thought that I'd go into pig farming. I mean, when I went to university, I didn't really know what I wanted to do at university. And so agribusiness management was kind of a nice thing to do that was, nice. And so that's what I did at Newcastle, and had a great time there. Like, time of my life. And then I went into marketing. Because I'd done a placement summer at Grampian Country Foods. Where we supplied pigs too. And then they offered me a full-time job after I left uni. So I kind of fell into that, but I didn't last very long. I got very bored very quickly.
So when and why did you make that decision then, I suppose, then to come back to the farm?
After I left Grampian, I did a ski season. I took my HGV license because I evented horses to quite a high standard. So then I drove some wagons for some local farmers, as you do, delivering liquid fertilizer, potatoes and things like that. And then I went back into marketing for a printing company, and I really hated that. Like, I was bored. They didn't give me enough work. And so I quit, and I was at home, and I think Vicky was like, "Come on, you lazy, get outside, come and help me." And so I was like, "Yeah, all right then." And then
the rest is history.
And then I just didn't look back. That was that. I was here. Dad didn't let me leave.
Now, taking a bit of a sidestep, so you have run the London Marathon, and I'm always fascinated by the mindset of marathon runners and also people who decide that they're going to do a marathon. What was the why for you, or maybe what is the why for you?
So I wasn't really be a runner, and then mum unfortunately got breast cancer. And
gosh.
so me and my two sisters decided that we'd do the Great North Run to raise money for breast cancer research. And so we did that, and that was quite a challenge in itself, training the three of us and not falling out on runs. But I did that and I really loved it. Like, I found it, quite relaxing. And so after we'd done that and we'd raised quite a lot of money, Vicky and Rachel instantly stopped running. Okay. And I joined a running club. And then somebody that was in the running club couldn't do the London Marathon, so she basically gave me her place. And I loved it. It was a fantastic experience. But I damaged my hips. I would if my body would let me. Yeah. My hips, I've had 3 operations on my hips since. Oh, wow. So, but I still run. I just don't know if I could do 26.2 miles again.
Yeah. And you still play hockey, which is like very, you have to be, you have to be very physically fit for that.
My mum on Monday won the World Cup in South Africa for the Masters hockey over 65.
Wow. That is seriously impressive.
Yeah, it is amazing. So incredible. They're out in South Africa and they've just won the World Cup.
Wow. God, not everyone can say that about their mum.
Yeah, no, exactly. I'm very proud of her. Yeah. So I have to carry on playing for a long time.
Yeah, for sure. She's set the standard now.
Yeah, very high.
Got to keep it up.
Yeah.
Talk about sort of this kind of thing. You do a lot of outreach and talking to the media. How did you get into that? Because it's not something that everyone wants to do. And why did you feel the drive to speak to people about the industry and what you do?
I don't really know how we got approached a lot. I think we're quite unique because we're two.
You say yes
sisters.
Too much.
Yeah, I never say no. So we're 2 sisters, and I think that's quite unique. And we do generally do all interviews together. Yeah. And we're passionate about what we do, and we realise that we're very fortunate to be able to do what we do. And so we like to educate people. So we like to go to schools and talk to them about farming. And really, in front of the media, it's just the same, really. We're just trying to educate people and trying to change people's opinions of farmers, I suppose, and hopefully give them a bit of insight what we do. I don't think it's right that farms close doors. I think that, we should be letting people see what we do. We're proud of what we do, so why not show it? I know that there's a lot of worry about activists and things like that, which someone might come to our farm and that they might not, but we know that we're proud in what we do. We do it right. We do everything that we're meant to do. And so I think it's really important that someone shows the media that. And I do quite enjoy it. Yeah,
exactly. How do you feel farming is portrayed in the media at the moment? And the media it's saying the media is incredibly broad brush statement. But what is your impression at the moment?
Do you know, we've done some like going into supermarkets to try and promote pork and stuff, and you speak to the general public and they all want to support the British farmer. They generally do, and they get what's happening as well. Like, people understand what the government are doing to us and what's happening to the British farmer. Yeah. So
that's good.
I do think that people actually quite like the farmer, but I still think the perception is of old people and a bit grumpy. And I don't know how we change that. I mean, there's a lot of programs, isn't there, now of farming, and that's brilliant.
There are.
But I just think it's vital that more and more people stand up and show what they're doing. And let's just all be proud of it. We're blooming good at farming in the UK. Like, let's shout about it. Let's try and get people to buy our product on the shelves so that the supermarkets don't go out and blooming get foreign products. Yeah. It's crazy. Yeah. I think that the consumer's really uneducated. And I do think that that's a farmer's fault as well as the retailers, media, what have you. But I don't think that they really understand what's in season or what the labelling of a product says, because it's so blooming complicated. You know, I just think that we need to help everybody a bit better.
Yeah. And talking of which, you and your sisters started the Bite into British campaign. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so it was, guys, probably nearly a year ago since we started it. So obviously the industry was going through a really, really tough time, and it was all quite depressing and hard. And so it was this time when they did the New Zealand deal for lamb coming over, and I just thought, what are we doing? Like, whenever the farmers are in the news, it's all negative. Let's try and do something positive. And so we came up with a Bite into British that was inclusive, so it didn't matter if you were a vegan, a vegetarian, you know, you could still bite into British. And yeah, that was basically the idea. It's just to try and get a bit of awareness, try and get people to look for British products. You know, I used to buy pink lady apples all the time, and then I was like, why do I do it? And like, why do my kids need blueberries in the winter if I can't get them from the UK? Why do they actually need them? They don't. And so it made me question a lot of what we bought. And so the idea was to try and make everybody just question it a little bit and to try and unite farming, which I don't know if we've done very well, but you know, we should all be helping each other, the whole agricultural industry. It shouldn't be a point of, this is the pig sector's going through a real tough time, but everybody else is fine, so everybody else don't worry about it. Because actually, why aren't we all working together? Because I need the arable farmers for all of my grain that I'm going to feed my pig, and the arable farmers need me to buy their grain, and they need my muck. So, you know, and it's the same with poultry, dairy. Why don't we just work a little bit better together? And I think, so the idea of the campaign was a little bit to uplift us a little bit.
I'm going to spin that question back on you, actually, which is, it's a bit me, but why don't you think, it's a classic question, but why don't you think the industry works closer together?
I don't know. In the last year, I seriously think we've lost that gentleman's like agreement and things, you know. Shaking a hand used to be, that was it, through and through, and people would stick to their word. And people are all about themselves now. And I think that has come into farming. I would have thought that farming was quite traditional. That's interesting. I thought it was quite traditional farming, and that we were the last of the good ones. And in the last year, I've really not seen that. And it's really upsetting, but people are out for themselves. And I think that is a real negative, and it's a real worry, because I really think that we should be working together. We're so much stronger together. If you think about the countryside march that we did, I can't even remember when that was.
Oh my goodness! Yeah. That's in the aftermath of the hunting.
Could you imagine us trying to organise something like that now? Nobody. We'd never get that amount of people, because nobody will stand together. And that's what we need. We need to all stand together to put our point of views across. And I do think it's a really sad, it's really upset me over last year how people started treating each other. And I just think it's wrong. We're all heading in the wrong direction, and we need to start uniting again.
Yeah. So where's the optimism? I was going to say, where's the optimism, Kate? Where are we going now?
The optimism is...
What's happening that's good at the moment?
God, now you're putting me on the... What's good? I haven't got my heating on yet.
Okay.
That's quite good. No, it's really the crisis has really brought like me and my sisters together. We've really pulled together because it's
I
hard.
mean, you seem super close as a family.
Yeah, and most of the time we have our ups and downs. Don't get me wrong, but it's really brought us together, and it's kind of because Dad stepped back now. It's kind of been the kick that we needed to really go forward again, rather than waiting for Dad to make decisions. Okay. And so we're so lucky in one aspect because Dad is literally just walked away. He doesn't care. He's got no emotional attachment to it at all. And there's so many farmers out there that would die to be able to say, oh, my dad's gone. Yeah. But actually, it's a really scary thing as well that he has, because, you know, we all look up and we're so inspired by what Mum and Dad have achieved that, you kind of want them there as a safety net kind of thing. But I think the crisis has actually driven Vicky, Rachel and I to really push off on our own 2 feet. And we're not giving up. We will never give up. We'll keep fighting.
Well said. Yeah. So with that in mind, I suppose, where do you go from here? At the moment, it must feel a bit like it's just hang on for dear life and get through this bit. But where would you like to go? And obviously, you've in the wider business, you've got some plans that are in your control.
Yeah. So I don't think that any of us have got a great aspiration to expand the herd at the moment. We just want to, we want to survive this blip, large blip, which we're going to, and then we're very passionate about trying to brand our own product. Yeah. You know, we've always been big on welfare and straw yards and really pushing the high welfare aspect of pig farming. And so branding our own product kind of comes next, I think. It's in the pipeline. We've been doing quite a lot of work on it. And then, we've got all these lodges. So I'm going to have to become a bit nicer towards the public. Bite my tongue a little bit more than what I sometimes do. So that will be a good challenge for us. And just grab some opportunities as they come our way. You know, not be scared to do something a little bit different. I think it's really important.
Super. We're going to start to wrap things up with the last few questions, which I always ask everyone. The first is, if you have a message for the public, what would it be? Talking of being nice to the public.
Definitely bite into British. You know, the countryside, this country wouldn't be what it is today if it wasn't for the British farmer. And so it's really vital that when you're doing your supermarket shopping, look for that British product. It might be a little bit more expensive. You know, I have no issue in people buying less meat if it's better quality, if it's British, you know where it's come from. Your vegetables, they're so cheap. Buy British, buy seasonal. Just support us. You know, we're here to look after the environment. We need the environment to be in a great place for our businesses to survive. So please, please, please just bite into British and support the British farmer.
And a message to your fellow farmers, and that could be to pig farmers, it could be to all farmers, or both.
To pig farmers, keep going. You're amazing, all of you. Really sad the ones that we're losing, but they're still amazing people, and we will get through this. And there'll be better times coming, I'm sure of it. And to general farmers as a whole, let's start working together. Let's really become more powerful than the retailers. Let's get our message across how we want it. Let's show everybody how we farm. Let's not let people say how we farm. Let's actually give them the truth, and let's work together.
Brilliant. And any farming related podcast, blog, or social media account that you'd like to give a plug to?
Bite into British.
Great. Let's keep just saying that.
Save GB Bacon.
Cool.
yeah, that's about it. I'm not great on social media. I should get better, but I'm exhausted by the time it comes to social media time.
You must get to the end of the day and think, yeah, sort of, oh, just fall into bed and that's about it, really.
Yeah, my poor kids normally get the brunt of it. So yeah.
We'll leave it there. But massive thank you, Kate, for coming on. And it has honestly been really good to actually be profiling pigs again. And yeah, certainly my thoughts with all of you in the pig world at the moment. But like you say, hopefully this period won't last for too much longer.
Yeah, no, I hope not. And if anybody's got any cheap grain they want to sell me,
yeah, get in touch with us.
yeah.
Brilliant. That is it for today. If you haven't already, please do subscribe to the show, share it around on your socials. You can also now join the Meet the Farmers Supporters Club on Patreon. That is patreon.com/Meet the Farmers. A quick mention of what's happening this week on our sister podcast, Rural Business Focus. I am joined by Georgina Nicklin from Business Finance Brokers, and we're talking about finance, funding your business to the next level. That's out tomorrow, and you can find it wherever you're listening to this podcast. I'm Ben Eagle. This has been Meet the Farmers. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope you'll have a great week.
The first week that I was there, you'd sort of get chatting to people and they'd be writing down the name and address and the number, and they say, look, come and stay at ours. I was quite suspicious of it. I thought, this is a bit odd. Don't get this when you go into middle Manchester. But you soon found out that they were genuine people and actually really meant it.
Yeah.
So that was one of the biggest things that I took from it, was just how much difference having a positive kind of mindset and positive attitude could have. So I thought, right, well, I'm going to go home and actually maybe, if I've got the right kind of attitude, I can actually somehow, farm on my own.